How's it going, everybody? You know me, you know my name, and if you don't, I'm Adam S., Austin Copperhead's GM, League Dad, all-around curmudgeon. Gonna get a quick one of these in today. I had planned to do it tomorrow on my day off. Unfortunately, my girls are sick. Daughter might have strep throat, and she's going to the doctor with the wife, and so I'm gonna run one out today real quick, and then go from there. A lot of stuff going on in the league. We're getting to the end of the season. I've got some questions. Apparently, there's some good questions from what I hear. And if you impress Dermot with your questions, that's saying something. But I did tell people to hit me with their best shot. So, and naturally, that led to, the song being quoted in the Copperhead's Discord. It's a lot funnier in print than it is when I awkwardly explain it. I was actually going to sing the line, which I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great singer. And then, right when I was about to, I started to burp back here, so I switched to explaining it instead. Now you know. Details behind the movie magic. End of the season's coming up. There's the whole thing with Buttersquanch. Great discussion on that today, by the way. Shout out to Dylan Deluxe. I think I saw you did questions, but I glanced it through to see how many. When I glancy through, I'm not drinking. I really am not. I leave for work in 55 minutes. I'm not drinking. Had some good discussions. So shout out to Dylan Deluxe. Gotta say, you in the last week have really raised your stock in my eyes. Just my personal opinion. Take it for whatever it counts for you. Do it be on screen for a second? You come over. Say hi. Come here. Oh. World's Worst Podcast official mascot. Yeah, she doesn't like it when you lick her back. She doesn't expect me to call her bluff. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's right. Alright. Go lounge for a while. I'll take you out before I'm done. So, you gotta get the cute dog in there for ratings. And if it surprises you that I lick my dog's face, you clearly haven't been paying attention. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, here's a short version. Buttersquanch thought he saw a multi, and there was a discussion about it, and he posted an IP, user IP. He was then quickly warned by veteran user, former commissioner Dermot, that this was against the rules, and he took it down. Apparently, the IP was visible for less than a minute from the details I can gather. HO came down with a standardized punishment, which has been previously used on a 2-year vet GM and a current member of HO. He wasn't current at the time, but at the time, even, he was still, head of stuff when he had been around. I think it's a little different with a newer user like Buttersquanch, but this is where we're at, and this is the punishment they decided, and it's going to go to appeals, clearly, and he's probably got one of the 2 or 3 best arguers in the league on his side helping his case and his GM. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping and thinking that the end result will probably be a lighter punishment that's still a punishment, because he did break a rule, however well-intentioned he was. Oh, and he was right, by the way. Let's not forget that shit in the midst of this whole thing. He was fucking right. Okay? The person he thought was a multi had given their account to the biggest multi-person in the history of the league, that being Noble. So, don't forget, in the midst of all this, Buttersquanch was motherfucking right. Okay? Okay. Let's have some tea. Let me put that over here, actually, so it's easier. I'm left-handed, so having stuff over here rather than over here is easier for me. So with that said, let's just get right the fuck into questions. Why not, right? I'm gonna go click on the Vidcast question topic. Hit me with your best shot. Okay, there we go. I was not ready for that. Moody 99, my dude, Mako. Number one, what did you? I'm not gonna actually say numbers every time. I don't know why I said that. What do you make of the current controversies in the league around punishments? I should have known somebody was gonna ask. You should really just like go straight into questions, and then if nothing gets touched, then talk about it. Punishments, Vander Jones, etc. I already talked about punishment, obviously. I think in general about punishments, since you did a plural, and that gives me an out. I think one of the things that was in that thread, the discussion thread that came up today that Dylan Deluxe started, the one that's why HO failed, etc., etc. You'll find the title from those horrible descriptive words there, but is that we need to be more communicative. And it's something I've said before a bunch of times. We need to be more communicative. And also the idea that there needs to be like a standardized sort of training. Like, hey, when you get a job, boom, here are the things you need to know. And HO's position is very clearly, well, that's what we hire department heads for. That's not HO's job. Ironically enough, the person who is a department head in this particular scenario is also a member of HO. Boy, he is not having a good year. He is not having a good year. I'm not going to go into that, but man, he's having a rough season. More standardized training, more communication. And even if you're like, your HO and you don't want to micromanage, just fucking tell your department heads to do that. Hey, by the beginning of next season, you need to have this. Put it in place. And then we'll review it and approve it. Like, that's delegate. Maybe that's what it is. No one told anybody from HO what the word delegate means. That's been the problem this whole time. Guys, delegate. Look it up. It'll change your whole life. I don't know why I did this with my face. Vander Jones, he quit on his team and then he got salty in a thread where Butterscotch was apologizing for his issues. And also, now that I think about it, his response was like, show, don't tell, but showing was what got Butterscotch in trouble in the first place. So, it didn't feel very... I guess when it comes to Vander Jones, and I don't mean any disrespect, and I don't want to make this bigger than it is, or any of that, it's just, in my personal opinion, I feel like the Copperheads dodged a little bit of a bullet there. He was one of those last couple of people who were finalists for the co-GM job, and we dodged a bullet. Anyway, who is now the favorite to win the Ultimates after the trade deadline madness? I don't think the trade deadline actually changed that much. I don't think it did. I really don't think it did. I don't think it moves the needle enough. That's not to say Baltimore can't win, because they were already in a pretty good position, I feel like, but I don't think it's suddenly like Kevin Durant going to Golden State or something like that. I'm going to say the favorite is Arizona until they're beaten. They're the defending champions. They're tied for the best record in the league. There's every chance in the world they get home field advantage. They're the favorite until they're not. Which NFL team do you want to make the Copperheads most resemble? Long term, the Patriots. Is there another answer to that? I want to win. I want to win long term. I want to be stable long term. I want to be a place people want to go to. Patriots, probably. Yeah. Why is everyone going crazy over milk? I don't fucking know. I was at work and all of a sudden I come back and 4 channels in our Discord are just milk everywhere. But I'll run with shit. I don't have to know what's going on to be like, all right, fuck it. Everybody's having fun with this. Run with it. I know there was previous jokes about Dermot and milk, so can I only assume it stemmed from there somehow? Who knows? My one contribution to that was to say leche instead of milk, because leche is the Spanish word for milk, and I happen to know that because I speak about it. I don't speak Spanish. I know about 300 words in Spanish. I can very occasionally be like, I kind of know what that guy said, but that's about it. I don't know about the milk. It's not even that good for you when you're an adult. Look it up. It's really not. I don't drink cow milk anymore, actually. I stopped a couple years ago. I primarily drink almond milk. Or coconut milk for cooking and baking. Because coconut milk is excellent for that. I don't miss it either. Unless, I mean, I'll eat some dairy, some ice cream, some cheese, and things like that, but I just not straight milk for the most part. Thank you, Moody. You know I love you, baby. Just hold you deep in the night. Even though it's like lunchtime for you at the night. I love Moody. Okay, it's getting weird. Even for me, it's getting weird. Sabadonut Man, my buddy. Why do you have such a nice head? I like him. I don't know, man. That's pretty awesome. Fun fact. I tried to be born upside down and backwards, which explains some things, doesn't it? When my horrible, awful mother was giving birth, the doctor had to go in and be like, you know, just so he could bring me out. But he DJ mixed me out. I wasn't born. I was bass dropped. I'm probably going to be repeating that for years now. Okay, what are your thoughts on the all the Noble news? Typical. I'm someone who defended Noble before because I thought he had changed when he came back, and he did the right things and he said the right things and he didn't have controversy and he put the work in, and I was like, okay, cool, you know, this is something we can point to. Like before him, but same old shit. Yeah. I don't know when he's going to change in his life and think this kind of thing isn't okay, but now's not that time. Unfortunately, that's what it is, and there's not much else to say. Speaking of news, what are your thoughts on the butterscotch stuff? Wanting to be better, yes. IP sharing, right intention, wrong action. Quarrel with Vander Jones. It's not really a quarrel with Vander Jones. Vander Jones had a quarrel with butterscotch. If you don't understand the difference, it's in the aggressor. It was clear who the aggressor was. Stepping away to take a break. I think that's good if you need to clear your head and kind of reassess where you're at. He did this once before when he felt attacked in the Discord. And hopefully he just take a quick break and if you're watching this, Butter, I would recommend staying connected to your team. They're gonna have your back. They're gonna talk to you. They're gonna help you out. They're gonna understand the things that frustrate you, because it's really difficult to go to your friends and be like, I have to download this entire information about this league and my role and who these people are and these events and these activities. Okay, and now I'll explain what happened. Having some people to talk to who generally know all the details is probably very helpful, and I think staying connected is good. So yeah, stay connected to your team, please, and do what you gotta do. Which trade made before the deadline most shaked up the league? Shaked up? Like shook up? I shouldn't be correcting people's grammar, especially not with my typing. I don't think any really did. It's hard to shake up the league at this point without moving a massive needle, so to speak. It's none of the, with all due respect to the players who were traded, none of them move the needle that much on their own. There's about 15 people in this league, I feel, who could just move an entire team's needle on their own. And it just wasn't one of those. And no, I'm not giving you the list of 15 people. It's like I made a comment in HO, I think it was yesterday, that every GM has a list of people who will never be drafted to their team. And no, I'm not giving you the list. What potential rule changes do you see coming at the end of the season? I think I talked about this a little bit in the last one, that there's one that I hope to see come back, but I have to go look up what that is. I think something about standardizing training for positions hopefully becomes an issue now. I think, yeah, I can't say too many going on. Can't see too many going on. Maybe something to do with the way simming is done and the way information is input and some kind of overseer or however that ends up. Just because we need to make simming easier on the simmers and we need to make it a process where more eyes are on the data itself to make sure it's accurate before the simmer does their job. So that way it doesn't fall to the simmer and that way it doesn't fall to the people who put the data in. We need like a middle person. So hopefully something with that too, but we will see. What's your thoughts on the Sweetwater stuff? I really don't read these ahead of time. I hope that's become very clear. The shit he did in the sim was way the fuck out of line. I watched about 10 minutes and turned it off after knowing what I was going to see. It was ridiculous. He knows it's ridiculous. He knows it's out of line. He's apologized for it. I don't think anybody is madder at Sweetwater about it than Sweetwater. It's just that simple. I talked to him a little bit in private. I'm not going to go into it, but I think he just a lot of things hit a confluence point and just that's what happened. So it is what it is. It's, in my opinion, not to pick on Sweetwater, but in my opinion, it's probably the second worst day in league history. After the day that the Earth stuff broke back in season 4, the end of season 4. So that and then this, I think. It's the second worst day in history. It's a horrible look for all of our new season 18 people because nothing like this has ever happened before and nothing like this should ever happen again. So hopefully, going back to the previous thing about hoping we revamp a little bit and look into how we do simming, because just going, we tried to do the same thing over and over again and nothing happened, it's not good enough at this point. We need to think outside the box. We need to try to come up with new ideas. We need to throw 100 ideas, and even if 95 of them are fucking stupid, 5 of them might help the next batch of simmers. And I very strongly believe, very publicly, it should be a batch of simmers, not one. Maybe it'll help them. These people should be rotating so that they're not doing it 3 and 4 and 5 times a week. Yeah, because I got to spend 3 hours on this one night a week is a lot easier to deal with than doing it over and over and over again. And I think, as I said in a discussion I had with HO when I was going over ideas, one of the problems we have is it seems like such a daunting job because it feels like a job you do yourself. And we haven't instilled a proper cultural idea around the league yet of this should be a group of people. You will be one of a group of people. Because I feel like it's too daunting otherwise. There's a reason people burn out the way they do. Yeah. But just generally on the Sweetwater stuff, it was awful. It was a terrible look for the league, and I'm a little upset I was at work when it happened, because you fucking know I would have been saying something behind the scenes and making a fucking fuss. If I couldn't get through to Sweetwater, and that wasn't the day to get through to him, I would have been fucking ragging on HO to fucking cut that shit as fast as humanly possible. Yeah. Let's move on. Thank you for your question, Saba. Appreciate you. Your super Technicolor signature. Buffy, great. What's your priorities for this upcoming draft? Well, I want to make some net gains for my team. Hey, you don't understand that joke. Fucking look it up. Defense. That's probably not going to be a secret to anybody. There's no point in me pretending otherwise. Defense. We're going defense. Our offense, I feel like, is in absolutely great form right now. Is this motherfucking pouring tea off screen? Yes, he is. Our offense is great. Our special teams is great. And going to only continue to get better. Defense. Just getting those final pieces on our continued climb. Yeah. So, yeah, there's really not much to add to that defense. I mean, there are things to add to that, but I'm not fucking telling you. It's a totally different thing. Of the information that anybody can have, defense. Thank you. Appreciate the question. Big Red. Big Red. Omaha Steaks. Who are you guys planning on drafting? Eyes. Well, at least he knows. He knows. But for real, I feel the two of us are known for being early scouters. That's true. Whenever I ask people like what other team has scouted him this early, it's always red. It's always which one of us can get to a prospect first. Sometimes. What are you looking for when you scout? No specifics. See, this man knows. He knows. He wants a generalized picture, but without the specifics of what I particularly do. Do you scout everyone or divide it amongst your war room? I primarily scout everyone because I want to get a personal feel for them. And what I usually use the war room for is, does anybody have any insights on any of these players? And then I take their insights and, if possible, have them chat with them. But generally, I handle all the scouting. Simply because I'm trying to make a locker room fit when I'm drafting. That's a big part of our culture. I've talked about it a bunch. Joe has talked about it a bunch. You start to see other people talking about it now, which is great. Got a wonderful compliment from someone from the season 18 draft class, by the way, where apparently they said nice things about me in their rookie Discord, and I appreciate it. And it has to do with this, so I bring it up then. Guys, thank you. And girls. I use guys as a general term, but that doesn't always work for everybody else. So. In fact, the minute because I work, for those people who don't know, I'm a server in a restaurant on the Strip in Los Angeles. I serve 100 people a day. And so I address very different, diverse groups of people. And the minute I stopped trying to say guys, like I started saying it 5 times as much. So it's just one of those things. But what I look for when I scout is locker room fits. So I won't go into specifics on what that is or what particular details I'm looking for, but I have a particular style. There's a couple of questions I always hit, sort of. I don't have like a standardized anything, really, other than I try to hit a couple of questions that hit on 2 specific themes. And if draftees were to compare their conversations with me, you'd find certain things like, oh, this is similar, but it's not exactly the same. It's not said the same way. And I try to figure out who this person is and how they're going to fit in and what they're going to do. And yeah. Without going into specifics, there you go. Thank you, Big Red, for trying to steal my ideas. That's what's up. Isa. I've recently looked into regression system a lot with an article I'm working on. Realized your very own Dick Wizardry will be having his first regression in season 19. That is true. Here, this will be a good chance to ask you some regression-related questions. What are your opinions on the regression system, and what is something you can be worked on? I think it's pretty good now for what it was intended to do, which is have slightly shorter than you might want careers so that we cycle through and get new players, especially at high demand positions, your quarterbacks, your running backs, your linebackers to some degree. You want to be able to keep going. Something that could be worked on in regression was to adjust it based on our new schedule, which we did this off season. When I brought the rule to our voting and we got it passed, rule written by the person who designed our regression system. He thought it would help people who really wanted to get that extra year at the end of their career. And I mean, if that's not really important to you, then it's not important to you. And if it is, it's a big win. Other than that, I think we're in probably the right place right now. From a player perspective, when should you start considering retirement once regression sets in? How do you think it differs from a max earner like you, who will hit regression at 1200 plus versus an average player with 6 or 7? I'm not actually a max player at this point. I was for about 4 seasons, and I've actually dialed off some because I have the ability to do so. Retirement is different by position. I swear my chair is my co-star for these things. Retirement is different by position. You can't be a quarterback under 400 TPV. You can't be a cornerback under a certain amount. I don't know exactly what that amount is. But you can do most things. I kind of think it's this. When you're ready to put that next player in, when you're like, okay, I am ready to close the chapter on this person. I'm ready for Dick to ride off into the sunset, and to move on to Ricardo Sorcery, which is probably the name of my next player. That's when you do it. When it works for you, when you're ready, because it's your player, it's your career, and whatever your goals are, that's what you make the judgment point. I think it's a little different from every single person. For every single different person. Ugh. I can't talk sometimes. It's a problem. I work at a job where I talk all day, like, constantly. And yes, when I fuck up when I'm talking, I do directly address it. Believe it or not, people like that. When do you start preparing to replace a player headed for regression? For example, Dick Wizardry, huge player in an impact position that should be able to fight regressions for a few seasons, yes, but when do you decide that you need to be diving into a replacement, and how do you handle that process? For my own player, I'm in a unique situation because my player is run by the GM of the team, so I've got strategic ideas for that as well, which is get Dick to this point and then bring the next guy in who will probably also be a D lineman. With players on my team who are not me, it's going to be a matter of just talking to them. I communicate with my players, the ones who are getting near regression, especially, hey, what's your plan? How long are you planning to fight? What do you want to do while you're in regression? That sort of thing. And then I go from there. Because once you have a general timeline, you can start to figure out free agency or draft. Do you want to move somebody? Like, what are your options? And you can kind of start laying out the plan from there. And of course, as a great general once said, no plan survives first contact. Isa? I'm gonna go with Isa. Thank you. We'll see you on draft day when approximately 4 to 6 teams decide to pass on you for whatever reason and you become a copperhead. Big Red just likes Isa's questions. This is Big Red scouting, by the way, in case you guys don't know. He's scouting. Right there. Lamp Wizard! Oh, now you're online. I will be contacting you shortly, by the way, on Discord. I just haven't crossed paths with you online at the right time. In fact, do I have scouting on you yet? I don't have notes on you yet. I can't show you all my sheet, but I have this huge scouting sheet. Yes. Which LRs are the dankest, friendliest, secretive? HO chat, I assume, is the secretive, because I can't even see it, and I'm in a GM. Friendliest, the Copperheads. Obviously, we're the friendliest. Dankest. I'm still not sure what dank means exactly. I originally thought it was about weed as a negative term, and then it became a positive term at some point. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it means like coolest or whatever, and that would still be us. In part because sometimes you'll use very common modern slang, and the GM will be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm old. Alright, which positions are the dankest? Whichever position you love, really. You can ask 160 people this and get, 20 different answers. So, my personal favorite, at some point I want to go back to tight end, because I didn't give it the go I should have given it, and I would like to have gone down as the best real tight end of all time. And the one person who needs to know what that means knows what that means. Friendliest. Which positions are the friendliest? Linebacker, I guess? Wide receiver? Wide receiver. You can have the most amount of people doing it, and yeah. Secretive. D-line. D-line is the most secretive because even the best GM, even the most defensively attuned GM in this game, is still kind of guessing. Blandest. I don't know. Kicker, probably. What is one trend you want to see start in the NSFL? Communication. The DSFL. Getting back to having your own HO and setting your own rulebook. What is one trend you do not want to continue in the NSFL? People being assholes to each other. Like, why? Oh, and people in management positions quitting without a notice. That'd be a nice one to not have. The DSFL. I don't know. I don't think there are any negative trends in the DSFL that I'm aware of that I would say, let's not do that anymore. Don't blow up buildings. Thank you, Lamp. You will hear from me soon. Or you reach out and say hi, and I'll respond. Dylan Deluxe. Oh, you did ask a question. That's right. What mix of characters do you like to have in your LR? I like people who talk, people who don't talk, but occasionally people who are generally positive is good. People who have a good sense of humor is always nice. People who aren't going to just randomly be dicks to each other at a bad level. What single biggest piece of advice would you give a player who might consider getting into GMing? Don't. That was a good setup. Find out what goes into it. Consider like co-GMing in the DSFL first, so you can get some ideas. There are differences, but yeah, do that. See if you can find a spot where you can kind of ease in and learn the systems and learn all the different things you're having to do. Last week, I just took the time to try to explain just doing strategies for games, for an individual game, to my locker room, and I realized I should have done a video partway through because just typing it and explaining it was just so much, and it's just one part of GMing, so yeah, it can be a lot. So my advice would be to go code in the DSFL. They're always looking for people. Guarantee you there's at least one code spot right now. And just kind of get an idea of what's going on. Also, talk to GMs. There you go. Thank you, Dylan. Run, my dude. What is your favorite species of giant salamander? I don't understand this joke either, but I would say giant salamander, the triple giant. It's the best. Bruce, great beer. Would you draft a max earning linebacker or defensive tackle even if they were a giant salamander? As long as they were cool. Yeah. Yeah, I have no bias against the cold-blooded. Would you like to subscribe to Daily Giant Salamander Facts? I would not. Probably better than politics, though. How many years will Dick Wizardry fight regression away? I like that he snuck that one fucking question in there, like, giant salamander. So how long are you going to stay with Dick? We will see where I'm at, but I start regression in after season 19. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so before season 19, I start regression. So I would be surprised if I retired before season 21. There you go. Milk? Leche. Alright, that's the last question for the moment. Let's go ahead and refresh and see if anybody else popped up. I'm probably going to wrap this bad boy up in about 10 minutes. Alright, last question. I'm going to type it in. Finny. Someone's not going to know what that means. Let's go type more questions. Thank you for the questions, everybody. I appreciate it. I love answering questions and sharing my knowledge and opinions about the league. For those of you who do not know, because I realize this is not something I put in the intro, I am obviously a GM. I'm also a former GM. I'm a former DSFL GM. I'm a former head office member. I helped start the Twitter system. Oh, it's way more complicated now. It used to be just 3 tweets in a week. Boom, here's your money. It's very simple then. Kind of feel like it's overcomplicated now, to be honest, so I don't really do it now. Yeah, so I've been around over 2 years now, a little over 2 years, and so one of the reasons I get a lot of these kind of questions is that I've done these things, and I've always been very open, very communicative about my opinions on things, my view of rule suggestions, and where I think the league needs to go, and that sort of thing. So for those of you who are new and wonder why I get these sorts of questions, that's why. Because I have experience and know-how, and I will engage and answer. And I'll tell you when I don't fucking know the answer, and then we need to go find it. So there's that. I appreciate all the questions, and who retired? Oh, right. It's brand new person retired. Right. You make a new player and retire. Okay. That's weird. It's just weird. Just weird. That whole situation is weird. It's just weird. Somebody got the hemorrhoids. I'll let you figure out what that means. Anyway, the only other thing to talk about now is the upcoming draft. Season 18 rookies. How y'all doing? I've talked to quite a few of you. Is it out? No. I'm recording right now. In caps, which I didn't plan to do, but I was. So, hey, Uppernet. This is me talking to you right now while you were just talking to me. It's weird. It's time travel. I wanted to say something about the Season 18 class, because there's been a lot of talk about it. How you guys are the weirdest class ever. And I think, yeah, the fuck you are the weirdest class ever. And that's perfectly fine. It's awesome in a lot of regards. So, shout out to you guys. You guys have been very active. You're the first class that's ever made your own random Discord for yourselves, which is weird and fun. Good luck with the questions. I already did the questions. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna make that sound when I make that face. Now you know what I mean later. I have done a ton of scouting, and there have been so many of you to scout, and so many different conversations, and that's one of the better parts of the league is all the different people and all the different personalities that come in, and because this league is about people. I'm sorry if you hear me doing tuna fish and iced tea burps over here, but at least you're not in front of me when I'm doing them, because that would be worse. And I put Frank's Red Hot in my tuna fish too, so yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm that kind of asshole. No, a lot of you guys are great. If anyone can tell me what the fuck the username for Conrose is on Discord, I can't find that. If you are an offensive player and you haven't heard from me, you might still, but I'm not going to draft you. If you are an offensive player who is probably switching to defense, which is pretty rare, and you are interested in the Copperheads, let me know. Because it's easier than asking 30 people and then having one person be like, yes! I don't know why they would do that on Discord, and you can't see it most of the time. Yes! But yeah, I do hate to not talk to people who I'm not going to draft. It sucks. Because a lot of times, especially with certain positions, you get pigeonholed down into, oh, these two teams talking. So that's it. That's where I'm going. I'm going one of these two teams. And it takes away from the excitement a little bit. Because even if you hear from 8 teams that they're not going to draft you, it's a different scenario. Okay, I'm going to one of these two teams. But I got talked to by 8 teams. 8 GMs felt like it was worth their time to come to me and be like, hey, I think you're doing great, but it's not where my team is right now. So that's something I try to do when I can, when I see people online or happen to run across them while I'm scouting and be like, oh, hey, here's a person who's doing stuff, or somebody I recognize from things they've written, or what have you. Even people that I'm 99% sure won't be available when my pick comes up. It's like, hey, you're awesome. I will never be able to draft you, but you are awesome, because that shit's important. Hey, Red, there's your answer. There's your fucking answer to your question. That. Do more of that. You probably already do that, actually. Yeah, I think being more communicative, even with players that you're not going to draft, is huge. Because when you are a player being drafted, and I've been through this twice when I wasn't a GM. Twice. And the first time I heard from like 4 teams. And it was cool. I had an idea where I was going and where I wanted to go, and I ended up on one of the 2 teams that I wanted to go to. And ended up playing for the other during the course of my career. But it was okay. It was good. It was exciting. It was my first player, so it was like, oh, okay, here's what's going on. And at the time, they were like, fill out these questionnaires for various teams, and so I did that, and I was. But looking back, I wish more teams had contacted me and said, hey, what's up? We're covered at your position. Good job getting it. Now, granted, at the time of my first player, the NSFL was just starting, so it wasn't really a thing yet. My second player, I got more attention, and it was better. A lot better. I was a more established user at that point. But it was a good thing. And I think it's good for the league in general if players feel like they're being paid attention to for the effort they put in, even if you're not going to draft them. So, as a GM, I would say to my other fellow GMs to make an effort at that, or to at least, have somebody in your war room do it. Make them earn that average mock TPE draft. Just something from the team. One of my best experiences was hearing from war room members. Hey, here's some plans. Here's what's going on. The GMs are busy doing this, but I'm contacting you. Here's what's up. It felt like the team had it together. They had stuff going on. They were delegating. HO, that's that word again. It felt better in general, like there was a plan. I'm diarrheaing a little bit here, but those are the basics. On top of that, I gotta shake my head, but it's too late. Oh, this is like 3 days of growth. Usually it's every other day, but I can see it. My head does look great though, thank you. My Viking. My Viking head. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I'm gonna do most things before I do them. It took my wife several years before she looked at me one day and went, "You really don't know what's gonna come out of your mouth before you do you?" No! I'm just as surprised as everybody else a lot of the time. I get to enjoy it with you. Season 18, stay weird, stay fun, keep it. As soon as I was thinking of a specific person that's kind of the opposite of that, in my opinion, and my name dropped, my eyes dropped right to his name on the scouting list, and one of my tabs in my scouting is, are we interested? And because, well, first of all, 7 out of 10 teams at least have almost this exact scouting setup because we all stole it from each other and modified it a little bit. There's some GMing secrets. Almost every fucking team has got the same scouting setup, basically. There are nuances to each one. Mine's a little bit different than any of the ones I've seen before, but they're roughly all the same ideas. It's all just a little tiny bit incestuous. Colby, don't get excited. Yeah. But anyway, under one of my categories is, are we interested? And under this person's reading, it says no. Long live the Vienna Eagles. So I'll let y'all figure that out, and I will leave you on that. And I'm going to head out of here and get ready for work, take the dog out. And then I got to go buy some chicken and carrots and celery and take care of my girls tomorrow. And knock on wood that it's not actually strep throat for my poor daughter. Who's like, Daddy, I can't. Can you just carry me around the house? Yes, baby. Even though you're 60 fucking pounds, yes. I can do it. She's a big girl. She is big. For the 150 of you who haven't met me in person, I'm short and 5'8", but I'm a, stocky 210 pounds. I'm built like a fullback. And my wife is 5'8" and is the shortest person in her family. And she's a larger frame as well. So we're both larger frame people. And already my poor 5-year-old is like, she's in the 85th percentile of height and size for her age. She's bigger than most of the boys because she's already got the wide shoulders. She's got my feet. I see it. I wear size 12 shoes. I've joked about the size of my hands before. They cover my fucking face. It still freaks me out occasionally when I look up and realize that it's gigantic. Like, I have average size hands for a 6'3" person, and I'm 5'8". So, I've had big everything. And, my daughter's got that frame as well, so clearly. So carrying her around now is like, Daddy needs a break after a little bit. And she's just not feeling well, so hopefully she feels better. And, also, the dog is on her period. I mean, let's throw it out there. Sorry, Daisy. I'm putting your business out there. I'm gonna put you on blast a little bit. She just comes and sits on my lap and whimpers, and I'm like, oh, yep, she's on her period. I don't just randomly do that. I mean, she sits in my lap, so she can. I realize I explained that fucking horribly. God, I wish I edited sometimes. Oh well. She likes to let me know when she's not feeling well. That's what she does. And if a little bit of dog period blood makes you squeamish, get over it. I've dealt with so many fluids. It sounds insane on its own, but yeah, I've dealt just being a dad, being a husband, and we had cats before, and my pup, and just like, as you get older, part of being an adult is just, here's more fluids that I'm just sort of comfortable with now. Okay, so on that note, we're going to end it, because that's perfect. I love you all, mostly. Some of you I just like. Some of you I just want to be friends with. Some of you, let's see other people. Let's see other leagues. Ooh, that would have been better to say first. It's not you. It's you. Let's see other leagues. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll talk at y'all later. Bye.